We'll talk about Maxx Crosby now. 215-592-9494.
That's the way to come out of the gate.
I'm sorry.
That's the way to come out firing.
I was just sitting there thinking about it. All right, 215-592-9494. Okay, the rumor is that the Eagles are interested in Maxx Crosby. They're at least monitoring the situation, right? Mm-hmm. And the question becomes, and heard TK talking about it, and we actually discussed it a little bit last year. They want they want multiple first-round picks. They can kiss that goodbye. We're not doing that. But if they want our first-round pick, the Philadelphia Eagles pick number 23 of the 2026 draft, would you do it? I would not even think twice. Here is why I would trade that pick for Maxx Crosby. First of all, I think edge is probably the weakest position on the football team. Cornerback, at least we have Quinion, linebacker, we have Zach, but there is a good player at almost every position, or a really good player at every position except for edge. We hope Jaelan Hunt is going to be good.
We got Jaelan Hunt.
And look, he's
not Maxx Crosby.
He's not Maxx Crosby.
Yeah,
he is not a Pro Bowl level player. Yeah. We have him everywhere. Edge is probably the weakest position on the football team. The Eagles really have a choice here. They can give Jaelan Phillips $100 million, an injury-prone player who had all of 2 sacks last year. He had 2 sacks last year. Mm-hmm. Or give up the first-round pick for Maxx Crosby, who already has a contract. I think he's making $33 million a year. An absolute game wrecker, has had double-digit sacks 3 out of the last 4 years. And when somebody brings up Maxx Crosby on the Eagles to me, I think of one other player. I think of Saquon Barkley, a player who was really good on a really bad team. And he got here, and all of a sudden he excelled because he's going from a team that loses every game to a team that wins 2/3 of their football games, even in a bad season. I just imagine Maxx Crosby completely reinvigorated by being on a good team, playing next to Jalen Carter, and thinking about opposing offenses, trying to find a way to complete a pass when Maxx Crosby and Jalen Carter are staring at them, and Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are in the secondary. I just think it would take them from being one of the 6 best defenses in the NFL to maybe the best defense in the NFL. I would absolutely trade that pick for him.
Yeah, I hear this, and I've heard everybody talk about it. I just don't feel it. I don't feel it. I don't feel it like I felt Myles Garrett last year, right? I even had a more of a feeling for Maxx Crosby last year because I thought, okay, let's run it back and go back-to-back champions. I just don't feel that this year. And let me just paint this whole picture here. If we're in the midst of them trading A.J. Brown, if that happens,
sure,
I don't see how making that move and then adding Maxx Crosby makes you a better Super Bowl contending team. I just don't see it because you've weakened the offense, you added a defensive player, and while, he certainly would help, they'd have to be so great because the offense, I don't know how many points they're going to put up next year with this whole new offensive scheme, having to learn that, new coaches, all of that. I wouldn't do it. I look at this year, and I said this months ago, I don't see this as a year I'm going in trying to win the Super Bowl. There are a lot of moving parts. I got to get this thing right so that I'm set up for the next 2 to 3 years, 4 years to contend for a Super Bowl. I'm not telling you that Maxx Crosby wouldn't help that case, but losing that first-round draft pick hurts that case, right? I think we need an offensive lineman, right? Is somebody a top-tier offensive lineman to put up front to protect our quarterback? Then we need Maxx Crosby, a 28, almost 29-year-old Maxx Crosby, to come help us win. If this was last year, I wouldn't have a problem doing it because I think the team was more equipped to do it, to add a guy like a Maxx Crosby or a Myles Garrett. What they're doing right now, they're going to have to pay more defensive players, right? So adding $33 million in salary to that side of the football for a 29-year-old certainly could hinder what they do moving forward as far as who they sign, right? On the defense, as far as re-upping guys on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes, yeah.
I just don't see it. I don't see the value in it. I don't see the benefit in doing it. And I'm looking at the long view here with this team. This team has told us that their objective is to try to maintain competitiveness right now while also keeping an eye on the future and building for the future. Maxx Crosby is the type of move you make when you're trying to go all in and win this year. That's not what they should be trying to do. They should be trying to figure out if this is the right offensive scheme you want to be in, how much further along will we be at the end of the year? You got a lot of young talent on the defensive side of the ball. They're still growing and developing. I haven't given up on Nolan Smith yet. Nolan Smith was banged up last year. This is a first-round draft pick. All right, you may as well get rid of him. You're saying to him, it's over. You bring Maxx Crosby in here.
Yeah.
So Nolan Smith is on his way out the door. And what is he, 25? 25 years old?
Something like that.
Something like that, right? Like I just, to me, it wouldn't be money well spent. It could be used elsewhere, and I'm trying to accumulate draft picks and add young talent to this team. We got to get younger, not older. Younger, not older.
215-592-9494. Would you trade the Eagles' first-round pick this year for Maxx Crosby? All I know you said you're not thinking Super Bowl this year. I am looking at potentially the last season of Lane Johnson. I am looking at, I don't know how many more years I have of Saquon Barkley performing at this level.
Which is why I need an offensive lineman.
Well, but it's also why I need to try to win the Super Bowl this year. And the other thing is, the new offensive system, to me, is not an excuse to not be able to score points. I see new offensive systems all over the NFL working immediately. Like I don't see any reason. What? But Seattle?
I don't know if that was a new offensive system.
It was a new offensive coordinator.
But they might have ran a variation of that system. I don't know. Half this league runs this system except for us.
Well, right.
And this is going to be new to this team.
We're not teaching them baseball. It's still football. I don't know. I
know. And football is much harder to learn than baseball.
Well, for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. 215.
Now, baseball is much harder to play.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Hard to hit a baseball.
Yes.
215-592-9494. Would you trade a first-round pick for Maxx Crosby?